Today we are installing some windows in this bedroom edition, and I want to show you guys how I like to flash my windows. First off, you get your house wrap covering the window opening. Take the knife, cut it flush with the bottom, and then the sides I'll run about 3 to 4 inches long, roughly. Make sure you have a sharp knife blade because this house wrap kills your knife blades. Then the top I will also cut flush. And then on your top cut, you want to 45 cut the corners. And when I put my house wrap on, I like to make sure I don't staple close to the top edge. This one accidentally did get stapled, so you have to peel those staples out. And then just fold this up. Once the window is installed here, you can put your flashing tape underneath this house wrap. Back your sides. The most important part of the window flashing is your sill flashing. I like to use this DuPont flex wrap. So whatever your windowsill is, just add 6 inches to each side. This is 9 inch wide. You can get away with 6 inches wide and just do 3 on your sill and 3 down. But I went 9 inches, and then I can cover my full 2x6 sill. Lay this in here, roughly 6 inches up past on each side. And it's very sticky, so make sure the black stuff does not adhere to the other side or you will not get it unstuck. This adhesive is activated when you put pressure on it. So the more pressure you can put on the flex wrap, the better that will adhere to the wood. Once you have your sill taped in, then you peel this tape last. I like to leave this on until I have my sill part done first. Peel that off. Then the reason it's called flex wrap is it allows you to bend it around the corners. So I take my corners and flex it out first, and then up the side. Same on this corner. And then just work your way across. There's often wrinkles in this flex wrap, but it does flatten out because there's a lot of give to this. You just work around with your tool. And now we are ready to seal and install this window. One thing I wanted to mention before is, depends on what climate you're in, you can choose different sill pan flashings. Some areas, if it's a really wet climate like Northeast area, they do a metal drain pan in here and then have a little lip on the back. That way, if any water gets in here, there's no chance of getting it behind here. Here in Central Oregon, we're in a high desert climate, so we don't have a lot of moisture problems out here. So this is plenty for the windowsill flashing. I always like to caulk my window openings for an extra layer of air sealing. Now here's where it gets controversial. Should you caulk this bottom area of the window? I was always taught you never caulk this because if case any water ever gets on this windowsill, you want it to run out. Theoretically, that sounds good, but because we don't have a lot of moisture problems out here, I did have a little bit of a problem with some of my windowsills, have a little bit of air leak in there. So I'm gonna start caulking on the interior of this window area because we actually set our windows tight to the window framing sill. Some people like to set their windows up with shims, but this is how I'm gonna start installing my windows. Hate it if you want. So now we're ready to install the window once we have the caulk on. And always make sure you have a second set of hands to help you hold the inside of the window. You can set windows by yourself, but I really like to have that extra set of hands. Plus, it's really nice to have someone on the inside dividing up my window in my rough opening, so I have a 1/4 inch on each side of my window rough opening so I can put spray foam around that whole window. So first step, when you're putting your window in, you have to make sure the window is level. When you're hanging windows, you want to think level, plumb, and square. So start with the sill being level. Right now it's off a little bit, so I'm going to fasten the side that's down lowest. Hold it there. Perfect. Now nice and level on this bottom. Then I'll check both sides for plumb. That's good. A smidge more if you can. Good. So now that I have the window plumb on both sides, the last step you want to do is check it for square. 55 7/8, 55 3/4. So there's a little discrepancy with this window. Right now I'm perfectly level and perfectly plumb, but I'm a 16th out of square. I might try to shift this window just a little bit so it's kind of in between. That's the goal. So I'm still within an allowable distance of plumb there. Got that to 55 13/16. So once the window is tacked on all 4 corners and it's level, plumb, and square, jump to the inside or have your guy on the inside check for operation. These are Anderson 100 series windows. I really love Anderson products. They make a high quality window, and these are great because the corners are nice and tight. and there's not extra, you know, vinyl sticking out like some of the cheaper windows. And the jambs on the sides are very straight. So when you put your level against it, you don't have any problem with like bows in and out. Every now and then there's a little bit of a flex on this latch side. You can easily flex that in and out if you need to. But for the most part, the Anderson windows are spot on. Let's check the operation on the inside here. All right, that operates very nice. That is the goal, that everything seals up nice and tight around that perimeter edge. Once the window's installed, the last step to flashing it is putting your outside window flashing tape on. Here I'm using 4-inch flashing tape. You can use 6-inch as well. I always cut it 4 inches long, top and bottom. Some window manufacturers like Marvin actually want you to wrap the flashing tape up around the window. These Anderson windows have a really good window flange, and they have a good seal from flange to window, so I don't bother wrapping that up around. But there again, the more pressure you can put on your tape, the better that it adheres. Here's another area. Some people like to flash tape their bottom window. I'm just gonna skip that because I did caulk seal that for air. So one final detail on your top head flashing tape, you want to run it underneath the house wrap like I talked about when you're cutting your house wrap back. And then you fold this down around. And take tie-back tape or any type of house wrap tape and put a little bit of tape across the seams. You can also use this window flashing tape. I'm gonna add one piece of tape across this top just so no airflow can get underneath that house wrap. This isn't really for water, this is more just for air tightness up in there. So that's how I like to flash my windows. I'd like to hear how you guys do it.